Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Cam Jennings, aka Cam Fats, coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com and Index Card Insights. I want to welcome you to another episode of Index Card Insights. And today I want to talk to you guys about growth in your business, growth in your life, growth as a person, right? I want to talk to you about growth. It's so important when it comes to your online business, and I want to talk about it today. I want to give you a few stories about it, but I want to tell you my point right now, okay? The fact of the matter is, growth is always uncomfortable. It's always uncomfortable, okay? And I'll tell you what, I noticed this a few years into being an entrepreneur. And what I noticed was that it seemed like every time I tried to do something different to get ahead as an entrepreneur, it seemed like bad things always happened. It seemed like bad things always happened. I try to better myself. I try to make more money. I try to do things as a business owner, and like every time I tried to every time I tried to stack it, every time I tried to get to another level, like bad things kept on happening. And I was like, man, this is crazy. So I started looking around and seeing if anyone else was experiencing this phenomenon. And what I realized was everybody was experiencing this phenomenon. And I started to I was telling my wife about this. I said, I know this sounds crazy. This was years ago. I told her, I know this sounds crazy. All right. But it seems like every time I try to do something to put me in another place, to put us in a higher level, bad things happen it's like a pushback. And I started calling it the universe. I said, whenever I try to get ahead, the universe always pushes back. It's like it's trying to keep me in this lane. It's like it's got this assigned lane for me. And every time I try to get out of this lane, it's pushing back. And I tell you what, I don't know what it is, but what I do know is that it's very real. And I'm not the only entrepreneur that has experienced it. Pretty much everybody I know has stories about this. Russell Brunson, I was listening to a podcast he did a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about the same thing. He was talking about this thing. He called it the resistance. What I was calling the universe pushing back, he was calling it the resistance. And he said every time you try to get to a higher level, there's always going to be resistance. That's how he calls it. So what I was calling the universe pushing back, he was calling resistance, but it's the same thing. And you can check with every successful entrepreneur out there, and they can give you stories about the pushback. There's always this pushback. And it's not just in entrepreneurship. I think it's just in life in general. Every time you try to better yourself in life, there's this pushback. So let me give you 3 examples now. And I don't want to give you super old examples. I want to give you some current examples. It's just, I guess, with the current examples, it's a little easier for me now because I'm ready for it. I know it. I know it's coming. I know what's going to happen, and I got to be ready for it. So it's different than when it first started happening. So I'll give you a couple of examples of what I mean. So most recently, I'm trying to do this diet change, right? I'm trying to go vegetarian and then maybe go vegan, or maybe at least 85%, vegan. It's just the diet that seems to agree with my body, right? I love chicken, I love steak, but for some reason, as I get older, it seems like, the whole vegan lifestyle of eating, or at least mostly vegan, it seems to agree with my body for some reason. Lucky me. But anyways, so I'm trying to cut out a lot of the meat of my diet, right? I've been doing that for about a week now. And let me tell you something, man. I've had the worst headaches, man. I've had these crazy headaches this last week, man. I've been surviving on Tylenol the last 3 days. And the only thing that's really changed in my diet is I've cut out all the meat this week. I haven't ate any meat. I drank a couple protein shakes, a day. Well, I was drinking, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the diet. The point is, I categorize those headaches as pushback. That's the universe pushing back on me. That's the universe pushing back on me, trying to keep me in my lane. Like, it'd be very easy for me to give up and say, you know what, man, this diet's not working out for me, man. It doesn't agree with me. I need to eat like some chicken or something because, man, these headaches are killing me, dude. I'm going nuts with these headaches, right? But I'm an entrepreneur and I've been doing this for a long time. And I know, well, at least I feel like this is the same thing as in business, right? This whole thing with the diet, it's the same thing as in business. Every time I try to better myself in any way, there's always pushback. There's always the universe always pushing back. It's never comfortable. Growth is always uncomfortable, right? And it's the same with this diet as it's been with anything else in my life, all right? And I'll tell you another example. This is recently too, right? Thrivecart. I was running all my products for Epic Conversions through Warrior Plus for years. I was running them through Warrior Plus. I used them as my checkout process. Well, in January of this year, I switched over to Thrivecart, right? And it was painful. It was very painful. It was painful letting go of like a community and it wasn't, because Warrior Plus is not just a shopping cart. It's like a whole community of people who like circulate around Warrior Plus. And it was painful moving on from that, man. It was painful letting that go. And you take the pain of letting something go that you're not sure if it's a bad idea or not. Well, you feel like it's a good idea, but like it's also like a security blanket. You've been there for a long time. It's hard to let that go, but then also it's hard because like Thrivecart is completely different than Warrior Plus. The way you do things is different. The way you set up sales checkout pages are different. Like it's the funnel, setting up the funnel's different. Everything's different, man. Everything's different. So like the way you handle your customers accessing your products is different. So your customer support's different. Like everything's different, man. And like that's really painful, right? And it's annoying because you're embarrassed too, because like you're trying to like guide customers through how to access their products and like you're still trying to figure it out, but you know, so it's like it's all new, it's all different, it's all painful. So I can say we're now in October. I've been running Thrivecart since January. It's a lot easier now with Thrivecart because I've been doing it for months. But when I first started, the first few months were tough. And I still don't know everything about Thrivecart. I'm still figuring it out. But you know, it's not as painful now. But for a while, for months, it was very painful. And you take the pain of like dealing with something new and something different and combine it with the stress of like, you know, people aren't able to access their stuff all the time because you set something up wrong and now you got to go back and change it, and that's stressful. And you combine that with the fact that you lost a big network of people who used to circulate around a platform you used to hang out on all the time. Like, and it all makes you want to just quit and go back to what you were doing, right? And there's been several times where I thought, man, I just want to quit and go back to the way I was doing it, you know? It was working fine. But it wasn't working fine. There was things wrong with that situation and why I wanted to move forward and why I wanted to grow as a business owner. And the bottom line is there was pain with that growth, right? Pain with the growth. So let me take it back a little bit further. I remember when I first started doing coaching calls. I don't do this as much anymore, but there was a time where I did a lot of one-on-one client consulting and coaching for online business. And I'll tell you what, when I first started doing that, number one, I started making a lot more money. When I started taking on one-on-one coaching clients, I started making a lot more money. But it seemed like right around that time when I started doing that, my dad started getting sick. It turned out like, you know, he had cancer and he was having all this stuff going on. So like I was like really, really into what was going on with my dad, and that was taking up a lot of like my mental focus. But I had to do these coaching calls because like I had committed to them. I had taken these people's money, and it was important for me to try to give my energy and my all to them and helping them get ahead. So badly, I wanted to just, you know, give people their money back and just like quit doing the coaching calls and postpone everything and just focus on my dad. So badly I wanted to do that, but I couldn't do that, you know, because it was my job. This was my job. This is how I make my money. And I was making a lot more money now because of these one-on-one coaching clients. And so that there it was. So I remember, doing coaching calls, trying to give my all, and these coaching calls, talking about online business, talking about people with their problems and everything. But in my mind, I was thinking about my dad. And I remember very clearly, answering support from the hospital. I remember very clearly doing coaching calls. And then as soon as I was done, immediately going to the hospital so I could be there to hang out with my old man. And it was a really tough time. But the coaching calls was growth, right? The coaching calls was growth for my online business. It was growth for me personally, helping people in that capacity. But there was real life stuff going on. And now I'm not saying that the universe was pushing back on me by making my dad sick. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that it seems like there's always something. Whenever you try to grow, there's always going to be something, right? There's always something that comes up that's trying to distract you, that's trying to make you think, well, this is more important than this, so you should just give up on this. There's always something that makes you scared, like with the Thrive Cart and the Warrior Plus thing. There's always something that makes you scared. There's always something that makes you feel like you should retreat, right? There's always something that makes you feel like you should retreat, right? And in my opinion, that's the universe pushing back. It wants to keep you in your lane, right? Now, what I'm telling you is don't retreat. Keep on driving forward, because growth is always uncomfortable. It could be anything. I could tell you, that's 3 little stories. I could tell you 1,000 stories throughout my life, throughout my online business journey. I could tell you 1,000 stories, examples of this. You can look around and find other people talking about this, but I promise you, the universe always pushes back. You have to be ready to put your chest out. You have to be ready to stand up, keep your head high, and keep on driving forward. The universe will push back. Growth is uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, if you hold fast, you can do it. Listen, that's all I got. I want you to make sure you get over to epicconversions.com, grab your free copy of my book, 12 Secrets. You're going to love it. It's a quick read. It's only 48 pages, and it comes with a giveaway license, so you're going to love it. But anyways, get over to epicconversions.com, check it out. Thanks so much for listening to me, and I will see you on the next episode of Index Card Insights. Peace now.